as rejection sensitivity. Rejection sensitivity. I got a clip that I'm gonna play. I kind of compiled some footage, and we'll go ahead and have this conversation. Y'all ready? Y'all good? Lady Di, you good? Okay. All right, here we go.
About rejection sensitive dysphoria. I don't really think it's brought up enough, and I've run into so many people with ADHD who deal with this. Basically, what it is you just feel like someone is doing something to personally reject you, even if that's not how it's meant. If you're trying to talk and someone talks over you at a party and people don't notice, that means that you suck. If someone hires someone other than you, it's a personal thing, and it means you suck. If someone doesn't text you back in 5 seconds, they're mad at you and you suck. Fact is, you have to try to remind yourself that most of the time, what you're feeling is just your feelings. It's not the truth. People are often focused on their own shit.
So rejection sensitive dysphoria is a condition that can make it difficult to manage rejection. But more to that is characterized by an intense emotional response to perceived rejection or criticism. Now, it's not uncommon for people with RSD to experience feelings of shame, embarrassment, even worthlessness in response to even minor setbacks or negative feedback. And what happens then? Well, it can lead to social withdrawal, anxiety, depression, and many other challenges and issues. Critically, RSD is actually commonly associated with autistic people and those with ADHD. But why? Well, it could be, and it's said to potentially be put down to the challenges we have with things like social communication and interaction as autistic people, our difficulties in interpreting social cues, which all can lead us open and vulnerable to rejection or perceived rejection.
Rejection sensitivity. I think every one of us with ADHD knows what that is. And if you don't, or if you love someone with ADHD and have never dealt with that before, it's essentially the feeling that somebody is turning you down or is rejecting you when they're really not. It's this expectation of people rejecting you just because you grew up being rejected a lot. People with ADHD grew up as kids who were considered quote unquote weird, right? Or they were told a lot that what they were doing was wrong or strange, or they were regularly made to feel as if no one would accept them or love them. And so because of that, we automatically tend to try to go after, I shouldn't say go after, we tend to try to head off that rejection that we're expecting at the pass by rejecting the people before they reject us, or trying to find the rejection before it happens. The only problem is it's not always happening. And so it can make things really awkward. It can get in the way of relationships, friendships. You never really know. So I have dealt with rejection sensitivity disorder my entire life as well. And before I even knew what it was, I remember dealing quite often with feeling literally that feeling of being quote unquote alone in a crowded room, right? Just kind of feeling like somebody would speak over me while I was trying to make a joke. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll go die then. And, it was never that serious. It was never that major, but I made it feel that major to me. And after learning about ADHD, after learning about rejection sensitivity dysphoria, I have since gotten very good at dealing with it. I want to make that clear that I'm saying I've gotten good at dealing with it, not at beating it. There is no beating rejection sensitivity disorder. There's no getting rid of rejection sensitivity disorder. Really the best that you can do is get really good at reframing it when it happens.
All right, sorry for the long clip, but rejection sensitivity. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna go to you first, Marcus. What are your thoughts about it, sir?
So I'm not a clinician, so I don't know exactly what that diagnosis is. But if I was just to take it at face value, I would say I think we're in an era where people don't have as much interpersonal relationships and interactions. A lot of stuff is through a camera, through Facebook, through Instagram, IG, etc. Right? So we don't deal with the rejection the same way that we did growing up. And I think similar to relationships is learned skills, right? So as a young man, we used to play games to try and talk to girls, right? So you knew you was gonna strike out, you knew you was gonna win, right? But you got used to understanding and being able to accept the rejection and not internalize it and make it something that's not within you. What it sounds like from what the young lady was saying was she's placed herself into a place where previously to her having the tools to cope with it, she was seeking external validation, and when she didn't receive it, it was negatively affecting her personality. And I always try and talk against allowing yourself to be validated from the external. When we were talking about everything coming from within, I truly believe that once you're secure and intent with yourself, how other people feel about you is not as big of a concern to you, because you know you got you. Like if I was to be rejected, like when she said reframing, it's essentially what I've been doing since I was a child, right? If a girl was to reject me, I wouldn't be like da 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 da, throw a brick. No, I would be like, oh, she just missed her beat. Could have been the best thing of her life. That's your loss. Because I'm reframing that choice in my mind. I'm not allowing it to define me as me not being worthy because of that person. People make bad decisions all the time. So if you miss me, you miss your beat. That's just how that shit go. That's how I feel about it. But yeah.
All right, go ahead, Precious.
Yeah, happiness is an inside job, you know. So if you're thinking because someone cut you off while you were talking that they're rejecting you, and then she was like, "I'll just go and die," like Marcus said, I'm not a clinician, but
Just go die.
you can't,
That's the case.
More like go.
What about
you
have time to be
can't.
whining about no goddamn
I love that.
non-autism person whining about somebody rejecting them? If they got autism, that's a different story.
Right, because I think, you know, some things mentally, if you don't have it, or if you're, you know, if you don't have any education with it, you're not privy to what's going on with them. But what I was gonna say is she said that she reframes and, you know, does things to manage it, but she can't beat it. You can beat anything. You can, you know, it just seems like she doesn't have the full capacity of self-awareness or self-confidence to do that. So, yeah, I didn't really like it sounded like a lot of
Bullshit.
negative. Like I always say I like to travel light. She sounded really heavy. Like I felt like you know, I just felt like you I yeah, she just doesn't have the willpower to beat it. And that can come from the people that are around her, who she surrounds herself with, because obviously she needs help with it. So, you know, if you're around people that don't understand you, who can't relate to you, then yeah, you're going to feel like you're alone on an island. So, if you know you have those issues, you need to surround yourself with people who are also struggling with the same thing. So you guys can come together and have a community that you can actually lean on, and not feel so alone.